I passed your test. Fate has a twisted sense of humor, it seems. I suppose you think I'm some sort of monster. More so since I survived your ritual. You keep striking at me, and I just refuse to die decently. You're a poor liar, you know. It's kind of you to say so all the same. We must settle things between us somehow or other, or neither of us will get any work done. So, what will it be? Yes, well, you can thank me for that later. I don't know what concession you want from me, Warden. I expect my word will not satisfy you. Indeed, I'd almost forgotten that. Thank you for the reminder. I think it's time we got to the point here. What do you want from me? I can't imagine that you spared my life in the Landsmeet by accident. You have some plan in mind. What I want? What an odd question. I want to ride back to Denerim and sit in the war room and find no empty chairs at the table. I want to lose, nothing else. I want a line, clearly drawn, that I can defend. I want an end to this war. All of this can rightly be called my fault. Whether or not you can do better remains to be seen. But if you can make this the end, Warden, I will follow you, I swear it. Andraste, help us then. We should speak no more of this at present. Time's wasting.
Ah, fancy meeting you here. I heard rumours that Redcliffe was once again open for business, but my word, isn't this amazing? Such bustle. The Earl has kindly offered my son and I lodgings in exchange for supplies. I'm happy to help him. And you too, of course. If you have need of my wares, you have but to ask. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected.
I'm surprised. Thank you. Thanks. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised at your success. You beat me. Perhaps you can do this after all. Do you want something? I suppose I have a moment. Hate doesn't describe it. I've seen painted, masked lords beat an old farmer to death with riding crops. To this day, I don't know why. Is that hate? I saw good, sensible men fight armored chevaliers with nothing. No weapons, no armies, not even hope of success to see the occupation end. Is that hate? The past is always with us. It's in our bones and our blood, and we wear it on our skin. You can think otherwise, but you'll never get far without it. No, it doesn't. I failed. Lives were in my hands, and I failed. Nothing excuses that. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Go ahead. I suppose that depends on how much of the kingdom was left by then. Once the border was secure, the army would have regrouped to push back the Darkspawn in the south. It's easy to say now. When Chevaliers were massing on our doorstep, things were a little less clear. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Go ahead. Anora always did have a flair for the dramatic. She could have been a bard. It's a foolish question. I'm sure you think me capable of every sort of evil, but Anora is my only child. Well, I'm sure having you come to her rescue gave Anora no small amount of pleasure. But enough about Anora. We ought to get moving. Go ahead. Anora is a good queen. She has been for 5 years now. I am a bit, but she'll do well. I have to say that anyway, for if word gets back to her that I said otherwise, she'll be furious. In all seriousness, Anora is formidable. You should know that by now. I'm not a seer. If I could predict the future, I wouldn't be here now. Anora is strong enough to endure. She may make a few mistakes along the way, but she'll survive them. But this isn't the time to discuss such things. By all means. So far as anyone could tell, she was the undisputed monarch of the whole world. She'd fall, skin her knees, and command them to stop stinging. It may have worked, too. Gwarren sits in between the Brazilian forest and the sea. It's far from the old Tevinter roads. The village by our keep was never even as big as Redcliffe. There were always a few children around. Charcoal burners, sons and daughters mostly, or the children of servants. They formed into noisy gangs in the courtyard for their games. But Anora never joined them. Because it was vacant, and though it's off the trade routes close to Denerim. It was a good place for children to grow up. Solitude isn't terrible, you know. She had a free reign over the woods. If you're expecting some particular insight into my daughter's character, I'm afraid I'm probably not the best source. I'm hardly impartial. I think you already know the answer to that. But this is not really the time or place to discuss my daughter. We have work to do. Go ahead. Eamon is a shrewd man. He'll be advising the boy. They'll do all right, I suppose. I was trying to be polite. Your friend may get good advice from Eamon, but he's weak. All the bands know it. You can see them. A pack of wild dogs waiting for a bone. The first chance they get, they'll pry concessions out of him. They'll pick at the throne until it's only a gilded chair with no power or authority at all. By all means, hope for some better outcome. I certainly shall. I just won't expect it. By all means. He was my friend. If he'd wanted to conquer the Fade, I would have led the charge. He nearly did. Merrick was never one to avoid his duty. And given his preference, he would have acknowledged his son no matter the circumstance. But he had more than his honor to think of. It would have ruined Rowan, after all. She'd be reduced to a concubine in the eyes of our neighbors, and put Cailan's status as heir in question. So Merrick made the hard choice. Eamon offered to raise the boy, and that was that. I was turned by then, and a general. You can buy respect through birth or by bloodshed, I've found. But we've been idle long enough. We should get moving. I was hunting, well, poaching, to be entirely honest, when a boy my own age came stumbling out of the woods. He was so dirty, you'd have thought he'd been dug up out of the ground. Every Ferelden was a poacher or a thief, as far as the Orlesians were concerned. He was bloody, exhausted, and obviously being hunted. I offered to take him to my father's camp. Yes. I didn't find out who he was for a while, though. But I've rattled on for too long already. We should get moving. There are men who inspire such devotion that everyone around would lay down their lives for him. And there are men who would come and go from this world, and no one notes it. What makes them so? Your guess is as good as mine. Merrick was remarkable. That's all I can say of him. Go ahead. Of course.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. I'm sure you'll be...
your desire? So, full of questions, are you?
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
It's you! The Grey Warden! Andraste's mercy that you got here when you did. I thought for sure these monsters were going to get me. In the castle, I think. The Arl ordered everyone in the village evacuated there this morning, just before the Darkspawn arrived. I thought I could make it to my home and back before they got here, but it took me too long to get down here. What a relief you arrived. I'm going to get out of here before any more of those things arrive. Thank you again.
One less to worry about.
It will be done.
There.
much!
My lord, you're here. Thank goodness. They are both inside with Riordan of the Grey Wardens, who arrived this morning, just ahead of the Darkspawn. I was told he has urgent news and to send out patrols to watch for your arrival. Then we were attacked. I don't rightly know. Things happened so fast, I only know he was scouting in the south before he arrived. There might be stragglers, but you seem to have taken care of most of them out here. That's rather remarkable, really. I was told to watch for your arrival, Warden. Your comrade Riordan arrived just ahead of the Darkspawn attack. I should take you to the hall right away, my lord. They'll be waiting for you there.
It's a relief to see you unharmed. And you as well, Loghain.
Yes, what a pleasure to see you again.
The Darkspawn that attacked Redcliffe were relatively few in number, I'm afraid. It was assumed the Horde was marching in this direction, but that is not true.
Riordan tells us that the bulk of the Horde is in fact heading towards Denerim. They are perhaps 2 days away from the capital.
How certain are we that this is good information?
I ventured close enough to listen in, as it were. I am quite certain. The Darkspawn line is wide, and many of them roam away from the main Horde. Until now, most of them have been spotted here in the west.
Not to mention that our forces have been distracted by the Civil War.
There is, I'm afraid, one other piece of news that is of even greater concern. The Archdemon has shown itself. The dragon is at the head of the Horde.
Make her preserve us.
And we won't be able to reach Denerim within 2 days.
We must begin a forced march to the capital immediately with what we have. Denerim must be defended at all costs.
And only the Grey Wardens can defeat the Archdemon. That is why we must go.
Then we march. And hope the army collected here gives you the chance you need. Arleman, how long before the army can set out?
By daybreak, Your Majesty.
Then give the order. The longer we delay, the longer Denerim will be at the mercy of the Horde.
To reach the Archdemon, we need to break through the Horde. To do that, we need the army. I see no other way.
I will give the orders at once, and will notify you the moment we are ready to march.
Excellent.
Then if you and Loghain could meet me before you retire, we have Grey Warden business to discuss.
I will have someone show you to your rooms. I suggest you all get some rest while you can. We will need it. Marrying Alistair to Honora would not have been my first choice. Still, it does keep the Therin bloodline alive, and Honora is a fine ruler. So I suppose I owe you thanks, Warden. All of Ferelden does. We have sent messengers to Orlais. With any luck, the Empress will send us help within a week. I think it entirely possible, however, that she has written Ferelden off as a lost cause already, and will seek to defend her empire first. Perhaps the Grey Wardens of Orlais will be able to march and reach us in time. We should not rely on their arrival, even so.
And now Denerim is under assault by the Darkspawn. The death toll will be staggering. I wish you luck.
And what word have we from Orzammar? Has House Clorette sent their men, or haven't they?
They're stalling, which is as good as a no.
House Clorette's feud with House Romald has flared up again since their son died in that Deep Roads business. So naturally they're pleading the need for self-defense.
Fine time to start with that nonsense again. I've half a mind to... Evening to you, Grey Warden. I didn't realize you were still up and about. Nothing that can be dealt with now, I'm afraid. Just one of the houses being thicker than the stone that made them.
Once all of this blight business is done, there will be a reckoning in the Assembly.
They're probably half hoping we'll all wind up dead. That way they'll have one of the strongest forces left in Orzammar.
Enough to face the Darkspawn all on their own, I suppose? That's exactly the kind of half-arsed thinking that got us into the mess after Endron passed.
It was our good fortune that you decided to return home when you did, Grey Warden. For all that you needed our help, I expect we needed yours more.
Right. Off to camp with both of you, and keep the drunkenness to a minimum. We have a long way to go yet. Pleasant evening to you, Grey Warden, and good fortune on the field of battle.
I am listening. It doesn't have better things to do. On then.
What is your wish, Kadan? As you wish.
Things are coming to a head fairly quickly, aren't they? Are you ready? The last Grey Wardens in Ferelden. So much is expected from you. It hardly seems fair, either to you or to Alistair. I look at you sometimes and you are so young. You face death every day. You know you are unlikely to live long. Does it frighten you? And you sacrifice that others may live. Yes, the first blight in 400 years, and here you are, the fulcrum on which it all turns. Whatever happens, you will become legend. And if we should prevail, even if you die, you will live on in the memories of those you sacrificed everything for. And perhaps one day they will forget, but it will not erase what you did. Every new day that they see will be because of you, and nothing in this world will ever make that untrue. I see you've kept your sense of humor through all this. It will serve you well in the coming days.
Your wish? Whatever you'd like to ask. Yes, I suppose it is time. You have been a good friend to me after all. There is no reason to be silent. There is a reason I accepted this mission in Ferelden, far away from home, and it had nothing to do with any thought that I might leave the Crows. Meeting you, after all, was quite an accident. My last mission before this one did not end well. You must realize that until that day I was cocky and arrogant. I was the best crow in Antiva, I believed, and I bragged of my conquests often, both as an assassin and lover. Indeed, I was often told I was insufferable, right before I ended up in bed with someone. Such is how it was. One of the Crow Masters grew tired of my boasting. My bid for an incredibly difficult mark was accepted, much to my surprise. A wealthy merchant with many guards and completely silent. Taliesin agreed to be part of my team, as well as an elven lass named Rina. She was a marvel. Tough, smooth, wicked. Eyes that gleamed like justice. Everything I thought I desired. Rina was special. I had closed off my heart, I thought, but she touched something within me. It frightened me. When Taliesin revealed to me that Rina had accepted a bribe from the merchant, told him of our plan, I readily agreed that she needed to pay the price and allowed Taliesin to kill her. Rina begged me not to. On her knees, with tears in her eyes, she told me that she loved me and had not betrayed us. I laughed in her face and said that even if it were true, I didn't care. Taliesin cut her throat, and I watched her bleed as she stared up at me. I spat on her for betraying the crows. When Taliesin and I finally assassinated the merchant, we found the true source of his information. Rina had not betrayed us, after all. I wanted to tell the crows what we had done, our mistake. Taliesin convinced me not to. He said it would be a foolish waste. So we reported that Rina had died in the attempt. We needn't have bothered. The crows knew what we had done. The master who disliked me told me so to my face. He said the crows knew, and they didn't care. And one day, my turn would come. You once asked why I wanted to leave the crows. In truth, what I wanted was to die. What better way than to throw myself at one of the fabled Grey Wardens? And then, this happened, and here I am. No. What I want is to begin again. Whatever it is I sought by leaving Antiva, I think I have found it. I owe you a great deal. Let us return to your mission, shall we? Suddenly, I do not feel like standing about.
You've seen and touched Andraste's ashes. They are the holiest thing on this earth, the remains of the Maker's Chosen. I know, it seems almost irreverent to use her as a curative, and it is also a tiny bit morbid. I do not know if I am worthy to look upon her. I suppose you could look at it that way, but she still deserves our respect. But there is little time to debate this. Let us move on. I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you? Of course.
Right here, old pal. What about? All right. Aye, all right then.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount. You and your friends are full.
Very well.
Let's see what this Riordan has to say.
You're both here. Good. You're new to the Grey Wardens, and you may not have been told how an archdemon is slain. I need to know if that is so.
It is indeed. I, for one, am most intrigued to hear this.
So it is true. Duncan had not yet told you. I had simply assumed. Tell me, have you ever wondered why the Grey Wardens are needed to defeat the Darkspawn? That is exactly what it involves. The Archdemon may be slain, as any other Darkspawn, but should any other than a Grey Warden do the slaying, it will not be enough. The essence of the beast will pass through the taint to the nearest Darkspawn and will be reborn anew in that body. The dragon is thus all but immortal. But if the Archdemon is slain by a Grey Warden, its essence travels into the Grey Warden instead. A Darkspawn is an empty, soulless vessel, but a Grey Warden is not. The essence of the Archdemon is destroyed, and so is the Grey Warden.
The Grey Warden that kills the Archdemon perishes.
Yes. Without the Archdemon, the Blight ends. It is the only way. In Blight's past, when the time came, the eldest of the Grey Wardens would decide which amongst them would take that final blow. If possible, the final blow should be mine to make. I am the eldest, and the Taint will not spare me much longer. But if I fail, the deed falls on you. The Blight must be stopped now, or it will destroy all of Ferelden before the rest of the Grey Wardens can assemble. Remember that. But enough. There will be much to do tomorrow, and little enough time to rest before it. I will let you return to your rooms.
Then this will be dealt with soon. One way or the other.
So it will. Let us hope it ends for the better.
Do not be alarmed. It is only I. I am well. 'Tis you who are in danger. I have a plan, you see. A way out. The loop in your hole. I know what happens when the Archdemon dies. I know a Grey Warden must be sacrificed, and that sacrifice could be you. I have come to tell you that this does not need to be. I offer a way out for all the Grey Wardens, that there need be no sacrifice. A ritual, performed on the eve of battle, in the dark of night. It is old magic, from a time before the Circle of Magi was created. Some would call it blood magic, but I think that means little to one like you. From Flemeth, of course. I have known about it for some time. I did. Would you have believed me if I had been the one to tell you? I have my doubts. What I propose is this. Lay with me, here tonight, and from our joining, a child will be conceived. The child will bear the taint, and when the Archdemon is slain, its essence will seek the child like a beacon. At this early stage, the child can absorb that essence and not perish. The Archdemon is still destroyed, with no Grey Warden dying in the process. Not at all. It will become something different. A child born with the soul of an old god. After this is done, you allow me to walk away, and you do not follow. Ever. The child will be mine to raise as I wish. It's why I was sent with you by my mother. It's why she saved your life to begin with. Caring for you was not part of the plan, but I cannot let what I feel interfere with what I must do. This is important to me. The fact that it may save your life makes me all the more determined to see it done. Please, do not cloud the issue. If you feel anything for me, then accept that it will make what we must do that much easier. After the Archdemon has been slain? No. No, you will never see me again. Refuse my offer, however, and I leave now. This is simply how it must be. As you wish. Ignoring that after but one night it could barely be called a child, no, it will not be hurt. It will be changed. Allow me to say that what I seek is the essence of the old god that once was, and not the dark forces that corrupted it. Some things are worth preserving in this world. Make of that what you will. I do not wish to tell you. The child will represent freedom. For an ancient power, a chance to be reborn apart from the taint. Is that not reason enough to do it? I will raise the child apart from the rest of society and teach it to respect that from which it came. Beyond that, you need know nothing else. No, you never will. This is all I ask in return for freeing you from the burden the Grey Wardens have placed upon you. Then you have decided? I do not know it will work. I do, however, have every confidence in my mother's magic. And so should you. What is important is that I am offering this to you now. It will work, and it will save your life. A wise decision. Come, my love. Put the thoughts of the ritual aside and let us make this last night together one to remember.